A powerful spiritual force pulsates all around us, offering energy and meaning to our daily lives. If we can meet the challenge of this force, our lives will expand in joy, peace, and fulfillment. The Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living and the Ministry of Dr. Moira Foxe presents Living Ideas. The power of new thought based on the dynamic principles of science of mind as taught by Dr. Moira Foxe. These programs are presented in order that we encompass the mastery of well-directed faith based on the inner conviction that we are surrounded by an intelligent law, which does unto each of us as we believe.
And so here we are on this great good day, and I know everybody has had a fabulous Thanksgiving, yes? Yes. Yes. There you go. And now we're here to see what it is that Spirit has in store for us this morning. And it's always good, and it's always very good. And so the student, as always, approaches the master and asks the question, "Master, how shall I understand humanity?" The master pauses and then replies, "By understanding yourself." Not the answer he wanted to receive, but that was the answer. And he may as well have asked, "Master, how shall I love humanity?" And the master would answer, "By loving yourself." Now that is the heart of it. Self-understanding, self-love, self-appreciation, self-respect. That's the heart of everything that creates a good life and makes us feel that we are alive and that our life has a purpose to it. Self-understanding. And so for self-understanding, of course, there needs to be a focus. There needs to be an investment. There needs to be a commitment to looking at ourselves, to turning within and looking at ourselves if we want to know ourselves. Because if we want to know life, we have to first know ourselves, or we know nothing. And so we have to get to the how of ourselves, the why of ourselves, the who of ourselves. Whosville, maybe. And so when we do that, and we come up with a clear picture of ourselves, then we're good to go. The reason why we feel so lost at times is because we don't have a map. We've no map to follow. And of course, if we don't have a map, we're going to get lost. And the map that we need is the map of self-awareness, self-understanding. And once we have that, then we're good to go. We have something that will take us to the next place, and the next place, and the next place, which for you and for me is a state, from state to state to state. Moving deeper and further into the truth of our own being. And as a consequence, living a much more blessed life and a much more satisfying and contented life. And that's a good thing. And as we chase our tails all the time out there getting and getting and getting and getting whatever it is we think we need to get because we haven't got what it is we think we need to get. And there's so much we think we haven't got. So therefore there's a great activity going on what we think we need to get all the time. And as I was sharing the statistics this morning with people, it's all about perspective. Self-understanding has to do with the perspective of life that you get from self-introspection. From self-introspection, you get a perspective that is one that can nurture you and nourish you and advance you and raise you up. And if you're doing that for yourself, you're doing that for all of life. Think about this. If you have $14 to $20 in your pocket, in your wallet, in your purse, does everybody in this room have $14 to $20? Yes. Does everybody in this room have $14 to $20?
Yes.
I was nearly going to have a collection with myself for you. See, we don't even know what we have. I think this is a good topic we're looking at. The Spirit has called to us this week. We don't know what we have. We're going to find out. Well, if you have $14 to $20 to your name, you are amongst the top 8 percentile of haves in the world. 8% of us only has $14 to $20 to our names. Now put that in your pipe and smoke it, as my dad used to say. So the next time you start to think you haven't got, think about that. You are in the top 8 percentile of haves on this plane. And if you have a roof over your head, any kind of a roof over your head, you are in the top 25% of people on this plane, because 75% of us don't have any roof at all over our heads. 25% does not have that roof over their heads. And here's another statistic. Hundreds of thousands of people did not wake up today. Hundreds of thousands of people did not wake up today, but you did. And what are you going to do with the day that's given to you? Perspective, my dear ones, perspective. It's all about perspective. So you and I, daresn't, in the light of those statistics, feel sorry for ourselves and moan and groan and bellyache about what we haven't got. We're in the top 8 percentile. And it makes you look at life differently. When I think about that, my goodness me, I feel rich beyond measure. So rich, so prosperous, and so abundant beyond measure. Beyond measure. Countlessly blessed in so many ways when I think of 92% of the people on this plane. So it puts a hop, skip, and jump in my step when I pick a name off a tree or whatever it is I'm doing, because I'm so blessed, I'm so rich, I'm so abundant, I'm so prosperous by comparison. That certainly stops us thinking about all that we haven't got. And it puts us looking at what we do have and blessing that and blessing that and blessing that. Perspective, my dear ones, which comes from self-introspection. And so this is what I have to know. The most important person in my life is me, and the most important relationship in my life is my own relationship to myself. And that is not being selfish. That is being wise. That is being intuitively intelligent, to understand that. Because when I look to myself then, I begin to understand that self-direction is the best of all direction. Self-motivation is the best of all motivation. Self-monitoring is the best monitoring of all. And self-correction is the best correction of all. Because even the wisest teacher amongst us, or sage, we will listen to for 2 minutes or 3, but after that, it's out the door and out the window. And we're back to ourselves again. So if we impose upon ourselves the task of being self-oriented in this way, our lives will be the better for it. And it is only out of self-understanding and self-awareness that you and I can produce a life that is good, a life that is successful, a life that is whole. Self-introspection. So we're being challenged in this week to be self-observant. Self-observant. And here's the thing, everything that happens to me in my life and every person that shows up in my life happens and shows up for some good reason. Believe it or not. For some good reason. And depending upon how I interact with that situation or person or persons will depend upon whether or not I have been wise in my response and whether or not it forwards me or does not. But the choice is yours and the choice is mine. So, everything that happens comes from within the self of myself. Every change, every movement, every mood, every stoppage, every blockage, every advance, every growth, all comes from within the self of myself. It does not come from anywhere out there at all, although it would seem to be like that at times. It comes from within myself because I'm the only one that can choose to respond to life however I choose to respond to life. I'm the only one that can move myself ahead or keep myself stopped. I'm the only one that can change myself or not, as the case may be. I'm the only one that can cause myself to grow or not, as the case may be. So I jolly well better understand the kind of relationship I have with myself. And how do I understand that? What would be a way that I could get in touch with that? I can look at my self-talk. My self-talk will tell me a great deal about the relationship that I have with myself. A great deal. What does my self-talk look like for the most part, for 51% at least of the time? What does that look like? Because that's creating my perspective on life and living. So if my self-talk is harsh and hard, this is not good. This is not good. This does not bode well with me. If my self-talk is harsh and hard, and God knows, nobody can beat me up better than I can beat up myself. Nobody can do a better job than that. So, if I have a time in every day where it's the beat me up stage of the day, and I get into it with myself, it's not good. It's not good. I have to stop that. So I have to be open and honest, kindly honest with myself when I look at my self-talk and see what it is I'm feeding myself, because God only knows, as a result of this teaching, I need to come into the awareness very quickly that I cannot believe what I think. I ought not to believe what I think, because I am so much more than what I think. And an awful lot of what I think is not true anyway. So I need to know what I'm telling myself and believing about myself if I am to self-understand. And so if that's full of the if-onlys, if only. And I'm not going into the litany, you know your own litany, when it comes to your own if-onlys. Oh, I wish. Oh, I wish. I'm not going to tell you what you're wishing either, you know yourself. Oh, look at her over there. If only I could have that. Oh, look at him over there. I wish I could be like him. 8% of the top percentile you're in, and you're if-only-ing. It makes no sense. It's nonsense. So look to your self-talk, and I will this week too, to see what kind of an understanding we have of ourselves and change it if need be. And I can assure you we're going to need to change our self-talk. We certainly are. We certainly are, and we've given the opportunity to do that. And then we have to turn the negatives into positives. And the way we do that is, for everything we think we have in God, we count 2 things that we have, and we bless 2 things that we have. It's the quickest way of doing it. And to change the negative statement into a positive affirmation. I have fullness, I have plenty. Life is on my side. The universe supports me. All is well. I have so much going for me. Everything I need I have in order to flourish and to thrive. It is within me to succeed. It is given to me to express fullness and joy and life and abundance. I have been given the wherewithal to do that. And I'm opening myself up now to the intuitive infinite intelligence within me to guide me along the path of my well-being, so that I can self-understand in a way that leads me into self-actualization, which is God-realization. Then I shall never moan, groan, and bellyache again, ever. Another way to see if you are doing this well, coming into a sense of your own power and your own sovereignty and your own authority, is to ask yourself the question, every single day this week, we're all going to do this, I'm knowing it. How long does it take me in any given day to move into a place of irritation and annoyance? How long am I up and awake before I'm annoyed? before I get irritated? How long does it take? And we're going to monitor ourselves for a whole week and see how long does it take before I start to feel the irritation move through me and I begin to get annoyed. And then I have a choice. I can choose to disempower myself or empower myself with regard to how I'm going to respond to that. And I am knowing that each one of us are going to stand in our sovereignty every single time and respond and not react, but respond with wisdom, with grace, and with intelligence, and say, this does not have dominion over me. I shall not be moved. I've stated myself a blessing in this day. I stated this day to be a blessing as soon as I open my eyes, and that's the way it's going to be. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. And then I move forward with grace and ease. I may have to do that a zillion times the first day, and nearly a zillion times the next day, and so on, by the end of the week before it comes. But I will have grown if I am faithful to this practice, and I will be in more control of myself and dominion of myself, and I will be more certain of a greater truth of my being if I follow that simple exercise. And I'm knowing we're all up to it and we're all going to do that. Just think about this, my dear ones. The young man who is in an encounter, the young soldier in an encounter, gets a serious head wound. He has to have surgery and he's told, it's looking like you will not be able to retain your sight. You may indeed not have any sight when we come through this surgery, so be prepared for it. So before that man goes under, he's going to look around him and he's going to take everything in and he's going to appreciate seeing things in a way he's never appreciated seeing things before. So that man comes through his surgery and the surgeon comes in and he says to him, son, a miracle has happened. We've saved your sight. And that man from there on in is going to see things in a very different way, and in a way he's never been able to see things before. How blessed is he? How blessed we are in this room that we can see. How well do we use the gift of our sight? We're rich, we're abundant. And what about the person that's about to lose their hearing? Don't you know they're going to hear things very acutely for the rest of the time that they have their hearing? And what about the people who are all sick in hospital and would love to be up and out and about? Aren't we richly blessed? And what about all of those people who are longing to have children but cannot have them? And think about us. And we can feel this way about our own children, irritated by the loudness and the noisiness and everything else that they're making and the mess they're creating and so on and so forth. When there are people on this plane who would long to have children making a mess and shouting and screaming and being happy. Think about the myriads of ways that you and I are wealthy and rich in, that others don't even come close to ever having or experiencing in their lives. Oh, my dear ones, we are so rich. We are so blessed. We are so full. We are so given to. We so have so much, so much. And yet, listen to us, moaning and groaning and bellyaching when 92% of people in this world haven't got $14 to $20 to their names, and 75% haven't got a roof over their heads. And gazillions of people didn't wake up today. How rich we are. How rich we are. But more than anything else, what you and I have is an awareness that I am more than I think I am. I am so much more than I think I am. There's so much more to me than meets my eye. than I can perceive, that I have yet to understand. There's so much more to me, and that in me is contained everything I need in order to flourish and to thrive. All I need is myself and an awareness of the source of my being. And then I am unstoppable. I'm unstoppable. Once I have that sense of myself, because of that which lives and moves and has its being in me, that infinite, amazing, awesome, unbounded, unlimited intelligence, life itself. If I could just give myself up to it and let it have its way with me, my life would be Disneyland on steroids. Or Las Vegas, as the case may be, depending upon your preference. But it's an amazing accomplishment that you and I woke up in this day to know we have so much more going for us than we ever thought we had. To come into an awareness and an appreciation of the infinite possibility, the life that created me said to me, within you is limited opportunity, unlimited opportunity, unlimited possibility, and yours is the privilege of giving birth to it. Every day, that's what's said to us and what we are invited to. To live from that sense of unlimited and unboundedness that was given to us, from whence we came, out of which we came. To experience that. And look at us, we're like caged birds. We live like birds that are caged, singing a very mournful, sad song. Well, we don't have to. If we take self-dominion, if we understand that we are sovereign beings, if we understand that everything is within our own control, and that I have it within myself to live, move, and have my being. It is for no small reason that it was written over the temple of Delphi, know thyself. It was for no small reason, again, that Shakespeare picked it up and said, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as day the night. Thou canst be false to any man. True to the self, the great self within us, knowing the great self within us, and then responding with wisdom and with intelligence to the awareness of what it is we know. And you and I know so much. Maybe this many people on the plane know as much as you do and as much as I do. We are aware of the power of the presence of something greater than ourselves within us, around us, and about us, that we can draw all good from and through, out into life and out into living. So it is given to you and it is given to me to be all that we can be. And that is mighty, and that is worthy, and that is powerful, and that is magnificent. And it's all right sitting where you're sitting now and where I'm standing now. And it's ours for the taking, for the being open to, for the receiving, and for the saying yes to. So I am, again, inviting you to join me for this week to watch carefully and see how long it takes in every given day to allow ourselves to be in a state of irritation or annoyance. Will you join me?
Yes. Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
And will you respond with grace and intelligence to the experience of the opportunity to be invited into annoyance?
Yes.
You're going to say, no, I don't think so. Not today. Nobody's home. I don't think so. I don't think so. See, I don't think so in that regard is a very good thing. I don't think so to irritation, to annoyance, to upsetness, and so on. Why would I give up my whole state of well-being and happiness in a day to some annoying thing or one, as the case may be? Why would I do that? I would only do that if I'm acting unintelligently, foolishly, sillily. Isn't it interesting that out of all of the things that Solomon could have asked for, he asked for the gift of wisdom. And in so doing, he got everything else as well. He asked for the gift of wisdom, and that's what we are doing this week. And I am knowing we're going to have a great, good week. And we're going to feel so rich, so abundant, so full, and so plenteous as we understand our place in this life and in this world in the top 8%. And so no complaints this week, no complaints this week, or the ground will open up and swallow us. As my mother used to say, "'Tis no wonder the ground doesn't open up and swallow you, child." Say such a thing. Anyway, love you all, and I'm knowing the best and the highest for you all, and I'm knowing that this is going to be the best week we've ever lived yet. Of course it is. And do you agree with me?
Yes.
So when is the ripeness of time?
Now.
When is the ripeness of time?
Now.
When is the ripeness of time? Now. And is that for you?
Yes.
When?
Now.
So it is.
We invite you to experience Dr. Moira in person on Sundays. Our services are at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., and childcare is available. Please join us. If you enjoy these messages and would like to make a donation to our center, please visit our website at redondocsl.org. Thank you for your support of this ministry.